Welcome to the Fourth Branch program, the place for common sense. Today is Tuesday, July 23rd, 2019. I am MD. If you were to be given money in exchange for your health, would you take it? Well, does it depend on the amount? Or does it matter at all? You probably received, or you will receive shortly, an invite that says, "Get rich to die." Something to that effect, I'm not sure. But the gist of it is that, literally speaking, get rich to die. So the question is, would you take that money knowing that it's going to affect you, it's going to impact your health? Because it's really almost exclusively about health. You exchange your health, you're not going to die immediately after you take the money. Your health will suffer, but you will be rich. Would you take it? Well, let me rephrase that question. If you were to be offered enough money to become rich in exchange for your children's health or your grandchildren's health, would you take it? Well, don't go anywhere. We're going to show you that's exactly the predicament a number of us are in today in this particular environment. You don't want to miss that. Once again, thank you for being here. If you joined us before, thank you. Your participation makes the journey a little bit lighter, a tad more bearable. If you join us for the first time, once again, welcome to the Fourth Branch program. The Fourth Branch program is not associated with any political party, and we at the Fourth Branch do not have any political agenda or aspiration. Our ultimate objective is to perfect the union. In order to do so, we ought to remove the biggest obstacle of all: ignorance. JFK said the ignorance of one voter in a democracy impairs the security of us all. See the importance of removing ignorance from our society. I asked the question earlier, and let me ask it again. If you were to be offered money in exchange for your health, literally speaking, not you offer the money but nothing will happen to you. You literally get more money in your pocket, in your bank account, in exchange for your health. Would you take it? But, okay, well, hypothetical question, you may have difficulty answering that question, or you don't know. But let's ask the question differently. If you were to be offered to become rich in exchange for your children's health, for your grandchildren's health, would you take it? Think about it for a moment. Well, would you? If you have to think about it, you have a problem. Or if you think that you can take that money and get the best care for children or grandchildren, you also have a problem. Because there are certain things in life you should not have to think about. This is where ethics, where morality comes. If you have to think about whether it's the first question or the second question, meaning the first part related to you, the second part related to your children or your grandchildren, and you have to think about it, you know you have a problem. No matter what your circumstances are, no matter what financial predicament you're in, if you hesitate to answer that question, I submit to you to get serious help, because you have a problem. Now, I ask the question not because I have no better question to ask, it's because it's related to what we're about to talk about. There is a pesticide called chlorpyrifos, CPS. What is it? That pesticide is an organophosphate pesticide. It is used in crops, in animals, in buildings to kill pests, including insects and worms. Great, you said. Why do I need to know about that? Well, I'll tell you in a moment. That pesticide, I believe it was Dow Chemical Company, which at least has the patent for this product. In Dow Chemical Company, obviously it's a chemical, patented that product in 1996. Now, the way that pesticide kills is by acting on the nervous system of the insect. And acting, of course, it's kind of a vague word, but it acts to inhibit what they call the acetylcholinesterase enzyme. A long and complex word to simply say it prevents the insect from functioning, paralyze the insect, if you like. Now, pesticide, we even use that in a home, and the reason if you have an insect problem, you use pesticide to, kill insect pest. In agriculture, it is a very useful pesticide, not necessarily the one that we're going to talk about at this point, which is the chlorpyrifos, CPS, the product that's manufactured by Dow Chemical Company, probably by others as well. But Dow Chemical was the first company to patent the product. Now, why do you want, would you need to know about that at all? Well, I'm about to tell you, so hang on just a second. It's extremely important to pay attention, because one thing that I realized that in our society, it kind of humorous to me. I had a number of people, some of them were following me on Twitter, on Facebook, some of them were following me on YouTube, and I noticed something that's rather interesting. I don't know if those individuals think they hurt my feeling when they no longer follow me. This program is not made for me to become a famous individual, but rather to provide information that helps our society remove ignorance from the conversation. But I do notice that people seem to be looking for a place that supports their belief. If you talk about something that they don't like, no matter how true it is, because obviously if it were to be untrue, they could have just told me that what you're saying is not true, but instead they figure out, well, the best way to punish me is to not follow me. Interestingly enough, I don't know if I should feel upset about the whole thing, but that aside, that particular pesticide, chlorpyrifos, CPS, is used especially in agriculture. When I was younger, I dabbled in farming, so I know the hard work you put into growing whatever you grow, and for insect to come and pretty much destroy it to a large extent, because there are a lot of fruits that insects come, they pretty much it's like you spend the time to do your whatever you're trying to grow, and it so happened that you don't get anything out of it because insects pretty much destroy the whole thing. Now, it's one thing that you're doing something just for yourself. Now, it's painful nevertheless, but insects destroy it, then you feel that you waste a lot of time. Now, people who have large farm and spending not only money, time, resources, sometimes they have to employ people in order to mass produce, if you like, what they're growing. The last thing that they want is to wake up one day and find that the whole thing is pretty much useless, destroyed. You cannot sell them because, you know, insects, worms, you know, it's a waste of time, it's a waste of money, it's a waste of effort. So in order to counter that, those individuals in agriculture resort to chemical. So chlorpyrifos is one such chemical that people whose livelihood depend on agriculture. That's their business. That's what they do. They have to have a way to prevent those pests, insects, worms, and so on, destroying their sweat, their hard work. Because sometimes, of course, with machine it makes it a tad easier, but nevertheless they have to spend the time in order to, you know, make sure that the ground is fertile. They put whatever fertilizer that needs to be put on the ground, and whatever seed that they have to plant, and so on and so forth. And they spend days, weeks, perhaps, and doing all those prep work, and finally they get these seeds on the ground, and it's they may have to irrigate the whole place, because sometimes rain doesn't come, so they have to also get into the business of watering the whole place, and sometimes it's a huge place to water. So a lot of effort put into it. So needless to say that it would irk you to find that now that you've done all that, now you're waiting for the product to come out. And it did. They look beautiful. You're passing, you're seeing, depending on whatever you have. So every day it's like having babies, because the person really pay close attention to the crops. It used to be a time when they couldn't do anything about that, but now with pesticide they're able to. In fact, that's one of the things that they do. Some of them, they may even have a small plan depending on how huge of a farm, how much land that they have all those product, those things planted there. So they may even have or if it's not their plan, they may hire someone to, from the air, because it's more effective that way in spreading it, going across the whole place, and then spreading it, so you don't have to have someone going and manually doing it. It would be almost impossible to do. So I said all that so that you get a sense that yes, there is a lot of work put into that, and the last thing you want is insect, pests coming and destroy all that. So you resort to chemical pesticide. Now this particular pesticide that I just mentioned to you, it's called chlorpyrifos, CPS. The reason that I hone in on that particular pesticide is because of a number of things. Now, I just described to you how that pesticide kills insect. It pretty much makes it impossible for the insect to breed, if you like, paralyze the insect, because it acts on its nervous system. And small little creature die. That's exactly what it's supposed to do. But there is one problem. That pesticide, when sprayed, it doesn't spray and stay on the leaves. It's sprayed on everything, the fruits, whatever that is. It stays on everything, and sometimes it pretty much attaches itself to the crops, whether it's cherry, strawberry, broccoli, you name it. That pesticide that I just mentioned to you automatically become part of the product. Yes, it prevents the insect from eating the product and destroying the crop, but it automatically sit on those things and attach, and there's no way to remove it. According to World Health Organization, this product has an acute toxicity. English language, it's poison. And according to World Health Organization, exposure to that is linked to neurological defect, and the younger an individual is, the more damage is done to that individual nervous system. And it also attacks your autoimmune system. Translation: you are more prone to a lot of diseases that you may not be able to get cured for. Think about it for just a moment. But there is a very good reason I'm telling you this story, because why should you care? Well, you eat fruits, don't you? You eat cherry, you eat strawberry, you eat blueberry, you eat broccoli, don't you? Now, this is the irony of the whole thing. We are told that eating fruits good for us, right? In fact, yes, fruits have a lot of vitamin, a lot of nutrient that our body needs, love. Now, here's the irony of the whole thing. A lot of people swear by eating fruit. Well, because it's good for you. Except for one problem: all the fruits that are available to you, that you go to the supermarket to buy, they all gone through that process. In other words, when you take that apple, an apple a day keeps the doctor away, this is no longer true. But that apple you take, you enjoy, is coated with that pesticide, and it is very difficult to remove it. Even if you wash it, most people don't even do that. Even if you were to wash it, in fact, I have this habit of washing apple with soap, actually with a sponge to scrub it. Well, because I'm aware of what I'm telling you. But you cannot scrub broccoli. You cannot scrub. It's kind of impossible to even. Blueberry is small. How are you going to scrub that? You cannot scrub strawberry. Because if you look at the skin, the way that it is, unless you remove the skin completely, and even if you do that, that product penetrates through the skin. Now here's how bad this is. That product is so bad that I believe it was 2001, that the government, our government, 2001, the government banned the use of that pesticide in the home. I'm not telling you anything that I took out of a hat, like some of those people who used to follow me don't follow me anymore, and they upset about the fact that I try to establish, to show that the government, whose responsibility is to protect us, that's not what the government is doing. And by the way, this is not a Democrat or Republican thing, because I realize that everything in this country boils down to only one thing. It's those damn liberal, those damn Republican. It's like it becomes a fight between two major political parties for no reason most of the time. So the government, our government, of course, after all the studies, all the information, all the data that our government collected, They came to the one in charge, whoever was in charge at that time, came to the conclusion that that product cannot be used at home. They banned the product because if you expose to that product, you may not die as quickly, as instantaneously as the insect, because the insect is small and it has a small system, and that's the reason this product acts so quickly on the animal, because it has really is a small area to process. And if you cannot breathe, at some point you die. If you're paralyzed and it's a paralysis in your nervous system, then yes, you will die at some point. So our government banned chlorpyrifos, which is a pesticide that we used to use at home, domestic use, because the government recognized that it is that bad. But that was a good step, right? That was a very good step, because that says, oh, the government really cares about the people, because that's really what we're paying the government for, the taxes that they're taking from us. I don't know if we're paying them or they're just taking it from us, because every time I think about it, if we were to be provided that option, would we have? I don't know. Maybe that's the reason they take it right off our paycheck instead of letting us give it to them, because I probably wouldn't have. That's a story for another day. So chlorpyrifos is a pesticide that's so dangerous that our government banned those chemical companies from making it available to home. But people in agriculture, whose business agriculture, use that product on a widespread basis to protect their crops from pests, insect, worms, and it worked. But as I just explained to you, that pesticide does not just kill the insect, but it also places a coat on the product that will be shipped to the supermarket for us to eat with the pesticide in it. And the younger we are ingesting this, the more damage it would do to our neurological system, to our immune system. You see where I'm going with this, right? Now, it is so true that in 2011, if I'm not mistaken, that's the right date, getting to think about, yes, was it 2011? Anyway, I'll try to come with the right date as far as what I'm about to tell you. But it was under Obama. So at some point, remember I just mentioned to you in 2001, the government banned home use of that pesticide. But, as I mentioned also, it is widely used in agriculture. And that makes the idea of banning it from home almost ridiculous, because we don't go to buy the chemical, but we buy fruit which is laced with that chemical. We encourage our kids to eat fruit. We feed broccoli to our kids because those are good for our kids. Healthy product. Except that those products that we grew up to know and believe are good for us, for our health, actually are very bad, dangerous for our health. Not because of the product itself, because the product is coated with a very powerful poison called pyrifos. Because when the individual who try to protect his or her crop have that pesticide spread over the whole thing, it doesn't go away. It just sits on the fruit, on the broccoli or whatever. And there is no washing it away. So we eat a product that's supposed to be good for us, but instead we ingest poison. During the Obama administration, EPA recognized that, and EPA worked towards banning the use of that product completely from agriculture. Meaning, use a different product, a different pesticide, but that particular pesticide that we're talking about, chlorpyrifos, the Obama administration, the EPA, responsible, you know what EPA stands for? Environmental Protection Agency. How interesting. Now, under Obama, the use of chlorpyrifos was prohibited by EPA, which is what that agency, which is the main job of EPA, Environmental Protection Agency. You don't have to have gone to school to see the use of EPA. Now, that's a good thing, right? Wouldn't you say? It's a good thing. The government was supposed to work to protect us, the citizen of the country, has the agency, EPA, whose job is to protect the environment that we live in, recognize that there is a poison called pyrifos that's being used in agriculture. Now, while it does the job for those who are making the money, but it also killing our population, especially children. And this is not a hearsay, this is not a maybe, this is a fact, this is scientific fact, that chlorpyrifos act on the nervous system of the insect, and that's how it kills the insect. And it so happened that we also found out that that same chemical would also act on the neurological system of us, human. And it will act on development, which means the younger you are, the more you pay a price health rights, that is, and your immune system, the younger you are. In fact, that is not so much true, because as we grow older, we tend to need a stronger immune system, but unfortunately, those things weakens our immune system. So the Obama administration recognized that and began the process of banning that pesticide. You realize that most everything in this country boils down to Democrat, Republican. Now, what's wrong with a government whose job is to protect you? Find out that this is a product that's killing us, although not as instantaneous as it kills the pest, but gradually killing us. And the government say no more. Now, that's a good thing. Whether you like Obama or not, it was irrelevant. If you value your health, if you value the health of your children, what the Obama administration did in regards to chlorpyrifos should be applauded. Was it? Well, you're going to find out soon, because it's mind-boggling to me personally to see that everything in this country boils down to a fight between Democrats and Republicans. What I just explained to you, do you see anything Democrat and Republican about it? That the government recognize a product can harm us, can harm our children, and decide to ban that product. Now, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, then that should be great news. That should be welcome news for you.
In 1996, a small network by the name of Fox News was launched with just 17 million viewers. Today, with over 100 million people watching regularly, Fox has become the greatest threat to our democracy, constantly bombarding the airwaves with false information, distortion of facts, and outright lies presented to its audience as news. Fox has created an army of blissful ignorance. According to a survey, 82% of Fox viewers are ignorant of facts and the truth. To keep millions of people in ignorance not only prevents democracy from flourishing, but it also clears the path to authoritarianism, to dictatorship. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "Nothing in all the world is more dangerous than sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity." Let me finish by saying that democracy cannot survive in an environment where truth and facts do not matter. At Fox, truth and facts do not matter. Indeed, democracy in America is in jeopardy. It is a crisis the country can no longer ignore.
Well, just like climate change. Let me read for you first an article written a few days ago, actually 4 or 5 days to be exact, about that very topic we're talking about. It is read as follows. It was published on Huffington Post. The Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, announced Thursday that it will allow chlorpyrifos, a widely used pesticide that's linked to learning disability in children, to remain on the market for agricultural use. The article proceeded to say that the decision is a major win for the chemical and agricultural industry and a blow to environmental groups that have fought for years to force the agency to ban the chemical. You can read the rest of the article on Huffington Post. As you might already figured out, contrary to Republicans who always claim they work for the constituent, Democrats have a messaging problem. But as I always mention, the big difference between Democrats and Republicans is simply Democrats tell you exactly what they're doing, Republicans lie to you. That's really the major difference. Republicans don't tell you what is, they lie to you. But the reason that most Republicans, in conversation I heard that many times, say they would never vote for Democrats, is because Democrats tell their constituent exactly what they stand for, what they're doing. Republicans simply lie, and Republican constituents prefer to be lied to. In fact, that's not anything new. I wrote many times about it. I even had a 3-part series where it said "Lie to Me," which you can find, by the way, on the peoplebrain.org. If you search that website for "Lie to Me," you will find that I wrote several part article that address that very topic. I'm not sure exactly why Republicans prefer to be lied to, but they do. Chlorpyrifos, as I just mentioned to you, is a very dangerous pesticide. It's not dangerous because Democrats say it. It's dangerous because science said that. You use it. In fact, the very reason the chemical company use or prefer to use that chemical is because it does the job in terms of killing insect pretty quickly. It acts on the insect nervous system and kill the insect. And as I mentioned earlier, the World Health Organization found that this particular chemical acts on the nervous system of individual, and the younger you are, the more damage it does to your nervous system, it does in development, and it also affect your immune system, which means we all pay a price for it. Republicans tell you Democrats are still for business. Business cannot grow because, and that's the reason I asked the question, to get rich and die. Because the argument becomes a chemical company that's selling, of course that's their business, they're selling chemical, and there is the Obama administration didn't say you cannot make this chemical. because it has its use, but say it cannot be used in agriculture. And if you concern about your health, of the health of your children, that should also be something you support, because something that protects you from being exposed to that chemical, from ingesting that chemical. And there is no way you cannot not ingest the chemical if you eat fruit, if you eat vegetable, because agriculture use that chemical. It's a widespread use of that chemical. And as I just explained to you, when it's sprayed, it stayed on the crop. You cannot remove it. How do you remove that from your broccoli? Rinsing it with water, hot water doesn't remove it. So Democrats work to protect the country, health, to protect our children, our grandchildren, from something that is dangerous, that's going to impact their nervous system, their learning ability. And it's not going to be Democrats' children. It's going to be all children. Republicans say, why should we put those kind of regulation on businesses? That's always the argument. Republicans say, Democrats stifle business. But as you can see, the argument they're making is false. Because yes, that put a stop on the chemical company from selling it to people in agriculture, because we, the government, whichever government is concerned about our health, knows that it's going to affect the future generation. Because if you keep ingesting poison, it affects your brain, it affects your digestive system, it affects your immune system. You don't have to be a doctor to know that it's not good for you. But Republicans' argument, they do not present to you the danger of that chemical. They say Democrats set rules and regulation that stifle businesses. And you say, yeah, that's what ignorance does. Because whatever Republican legislators say, without providing you the reason behind what they're doing, because all they have to do is tell you what you want to hear, and you go along with it. As you can see, if you take this example alone, Democrats look out for our health, to protect our health. Now, you may not like the idea that they said regulation, but that's necessary. If you imagine for just 1 second that Republicans were the only party responsible for rules and regulation in this country, a major part of that population would have already been dead. Because as far as Republicans are concerned, it doesn't matter what happened to us. As long as businesses continue to make money, what happened to us is our problem. So when you're making the discussion, the argument that you don't like Democrats, what you keep forgetting is Republicans lie to you. That's why you keep supporting them, because he is a perfect example. He is something that's killing you, that's destroying you, your children and your grandchildren. And what do Republicans tell you? We cannot stifle businesses. That's not good for the economy. That's their argument. That's what they use for as argument. But the part that they never mention to you is that chemical will kill you, will kill your children, your grandchildren. They forget to tell you that part. And you go along with it. How is that for smart? In fact, every time, I know you weren't born to know everything about everything. Nobody is. But the purpose of this program is to do exactly what we're doing here. To educate you so that you can see clearly that your Republican legislators, they're not doing anything to protect you. No matter which aspect of whatever that they do, I guarantee you, as I mentioned before, we have 100 years of data that proves beyond a reasonable, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that Republican legislators, legislation that benefit businesses, as far as the constituent, they couldn't care less. This is one such example. There is no ambiguity. The World Health Organization is not a political agency. It doesn't care about what happened in different countries. It provides opinion about different topics, and that pesticide happened to be one of such topics that the World Health Organization published its opinion. Democrats recognize that, yes, it's harmful, and try to ban it. Republicans come and say, to hell with everybody's health. And I must say, in all fairness, Republicans have this habit of looking at money as the ultimate goal. No matter, nothing else matters. So the chemical company can continue to sell that poison to the agriculture, so that the chemical company makes money because the rules and regulations are thrown out of the window. The agriculture companies continue to make use of it because most, I can guarantee you, those very people that are selling you those fruits, they're not eating them. That are selling you those broccoli, they're not eating them because they already know that they are laced with that poison, so they're not eating them. But it's courtesy of your Republican legislator because they say, to hell with regulation. Sometimes I honestly, in a very selfish way, wish that all those things that Republican legislators do only affect Republican constituents, because they're the one that's gullible, they're the one that's naive enough to go along with what the Republican legislators are doing. But unfortunately, those decisions that those legislators are making impact everybody in the nation. Yes, sometimes I really wish that those Republican legislators only impact Republican constituents, because Republican constituents are the ones that are naive enough to go along with those things because they think it's good for them. Ignorance. The ignorance of one voter in a democracy impairs the security of us all. In fact, that's true.
In 1996, a small network by the name of Fox News was launched with just 17 million viewers. Today, with over 100 million people watching regularly, Fox has become the greatest threat to our democracy, constantly bombarding the airwaves with false and distortion of facts and outright lies presented to its audience as news. Fox has created an army of blissful ignorance. According to a survey, 80% of Fox viewers are ignorant of facts and the truth. To keep millions of people in ignorance not only prevents democracy from flourishing, but it also clears the path to authoritarianism, to dictatorship. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "Nothing in all the world is more dangerous than sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity." Let me finish by saying that democracy cannot survive in an environment where truth and facts do not matter. At Fox, truth and facts do not matter. Indeed, democracy in America is in jeopardy. It is a crisis the country can no longer ignore.
There is one way you can push back if, assuming that the health of your children, your grandchildren, your health matter to you. There is one way you can force EPA to reintroduce the ban of that pesticide from being used in agriculture. There is a simple way. Stop buying fruits. I know they've been saying fruits is good for you, but what good is it when in fact you're eating poison? Fruit only good for you if you're eating a fruit. But when you're eating fruits, vegetables that are laced with poison, such as that pesticide, chlorpyrifos, you're not getting any healthier. And as far as your children, their brains, nervous system being affected. In fact, if a woman is pregnant and eating fruits and vegetables in the hope that would make the baby healthier, it is almost a guarantee that baby will be born with some sort of defect. Now that may not be immediately visible because it goes into the brain, into development, into the immune system. It is a guarantee that the baby will have some form of defect that may be immediately visible or that may come with time. So there is a way you can force the agency, the Environmental Protection Agency, the very word, the very purpose of the agency is to protect. There is a way you can do that. If you stop buying the fruits, if you stop buying the vegetables, guess what? And make sure that the protest is known for the reason that I am giving you here. That they know you're not buying fruit, you're not buying vegetables until that chemical called chlorpyrifos is banned from being used in agriculture. Because the health of your children, the health of your grandchildren depends on it. Now, if you don't care, you don't care. There is nothing I or anybody can do about it. But if you do care, that's a way to force the government for doing what is right by the citizens of this country. I hope this information was useful to you. I really hope so. But if not, you already know what to do. Send us your comments, criticism, suggestion. Let us know how to make it better. As I've always said, this program is not going anywhere, so you might as well help make it better. In the meantime, if you have a particular topic you would like us to talk about, let us know. We will research it, we will debate it right here on the Fourth Branch program, the place for common sense. In the meantime, I hope you have a wonderful afternoon. Hope you can join me again tomorrow. And don't forget, tomorrow, or maybe we'll postpone the tomorrow for Thursday, because tomorrow is Robert Mueller testimony on Capitol Hill. You don't want to miss that. So we'll see you again on Thursday for another episode of the Fourth Branch program. Good day. That was an update through the prism of common sense. Join us again tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. for a full presentation. I am MD, host of the Fourth Branch program, the place for common sense. Send us comments, criticism, suggestion, or simply let us know how we're doing. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful afternoon. See you next time. The Fourth Branch podcast is brought to you in collaboration with the People Branch publication, which can be found on the People Branch website, located at peoplebranch.org. That's peoplebranch.org. That's peoplebranch.org website, in which you will find a number of very interesting articles. My name is Mike Duchesne, MD for short. I hope you have a great afternoon or a great evening, whichever it happens to be. Hopefully you can join me again next time for another interesting episode of this podcast. That was the Fourth Branch, live from New York. Good day.